Now, I'm sure everyone has heard the concept of work and life balance, which is the concept practiced by workers in the office or in the factory where they will strike a balance between work and the responsibilities at work and the responsibilities at life, meaning they will take a momentary period to get away from all the craziness of work at the office or in the factory, to wind down and relax and just enjoy doing their hobbies or whatever they like doing. Now, people tend to overlook, especially students, university students, they tend to overlook the concept of study and life balance. Now, remember 4 years ago when the COVID 19 disease or the coronavirus disease was still very much viral in Malaysia, and all university students, IPTA or IPTS, were forced to undergo open distance learning or ODL from the comfort of their homes, meaning all classes were to be conducted online and communication between students and lecturers are through online platforms, whether if it's in a Google Meet or a Microsoft Teams meeting. Now, where some students love studying at home, just the idea of studying in the comfort of their own homes, being able to grab a snack while attending class or etc. There is a certain percentage of students who were actually struggling to comply with this ODL semesters that we had to go through, which was approximately 1 year long. Some people just couldn't cope with the idea of open distance learning because they believe that face to face or physical studying are way more effective rather than online studying. Now, in 2021, there were two UITM student death cases that were reported, which is on 12th July 2021, where two students from UITM Kedah and UITM Pahang were diagnosed with internal bleeding in the brain due to overstress from studying. Now, it is to believe that they were actually chasing the assignment deadlines during the ODL semester. And by chasing the assignment deadlines, one of them were lacking sleep. Okay, they were already struggling with online distance learning, but they were also lacking sleep from chasing the assignments that were due during that period. Now, ever since the two student death cases had been reported, news about this tragedy went viral across Malaysia as ex-UITM students or UITM alumni were alarmed by this tragedy. They even went on social media platforms such as Twitter to tweet out to address and share their thoughts and opinions regarding this tragedy. They'd even showed their sympathy and condolences to the families that had lost their loved ones because of this tragedy. They mentioned that having to cope with online studying has to be a hard fought battle for those who had to endure the ODL semesters. Now, one of them even tweeted out the hashtag struggle is real to show that although online distance learning was easy for some people, but to others it was a hard fought battle that they had to face. Now, in the aspects of mental health, depression, anxiety, and stress are the three main factors that can cause harm in a university student's life, especially when bombarded with plenty of obstacles such as piling assignments, monetary issues, family problems, or even toxic relationships. Now, having to endure these problems on a daily basis can cause students to lack time for themselves to wind down and relax. Students must practice a concept called study and life balance, which I have mentioned before, where students will realize how important it is to delegate time in a day for them to carry out their hobbies or any other fun activities to give their minds and bodies a momentary detox from all the schoolwork. This, in return, will benefit them abundantly in aspects of physical and mental health because when the practice of good study life balance is neglected, it comes with heavy repercussions on their health, mentally and physically. Now, some of you may ask, what is study life balance? What is this guy blabbering about? Well, let me explain. Study life balance is the concept of putting enough effort into your academic work while also enjoying the social, sporting, and cultural aspects of being a university student. Now, in simpler terms, is striking a balance between your school and your life, whatever you enjoy doing, your hobbies, etc. Now, it is to understand, and I personally understand, that life as a university student can be tough, especially when we're forced to deal with heavy workload and study load. It even gets worse if the syllabus itself is already a pain in the anus because it requires us more time to study for us to understand that syllabus. Now, look, guys, we're not robots. We're not machines either. We're human beings. We have lives to live and enjoy, besides playing our role as a university student. It is important to understand that no matter how big the responsibility we have for our future career, our health, physically and mentally, shall remain our biggest priority. As Jenna Kingsford has said, and I quote, balance is not something that you find, it's something that you create. You have to make time for your studies and for your aspects in life. You have to find a way to delegate time to balance out your studies and your hobbies. That way, you will achieve great study life balance. Now, how to achieve study life balance, you may ask? It really isn't that difficult. All it takes are some simple steps like, firstly, create a timetable. By creating a daily timetable, it makes managing time way easier as it helps students produce an effective schedule for both school activities and leisure activities. Secondly, set goals. Set daily targets for you to achieve every day. Goals in your studies and goals in your hobbies. Try not to cram an entire chapter to study in a day because you're most likely not able to memorize what you study, which is a complete waste of time. Lastly, socialize. By having study groups or leisure activities in a group, it makes study life balance so much easier for you to achieve. Now that you know something about the concept of study and life balance, let's look at the negative impacts of not practicing great study and life balance. Now, there are two negative sides when it comes to imbalanced study life practice, either when it is heavier on the life side or it is heavier on the studying side. To make the comparison easier to understand, let's look at the two beam balance figures on screen. On the left, you have a balance that is heavier on the life side, whereas on the right, it is more heavier on the studying side. If a hedonistic student chooses life over his or her studies, most likely that student that student will end up with bad grades due to lack of studying because that student is too obsessed with fun and enjoyment. But if the student's life is more biased on studying rather than balancing out studying and his or her hobbies. On a physical aspect, that student will have an unfit body and mind due to lack of exercise. Whereas on the mental aspect, that student will be overstressed due to overstudying, which is bad for mental stability. In conclusion, study and life balance is an important concept to be practiced by students because if it is avoided, there can be heavy repercussions. Considering the amounts of work and studying that students must endure, life and health should be a priority to them as well. Striking a solid balance between the two aspects of life can help alleviate the negative impacts that comes with study and life balance negligence. This is me, Mukhriz bin Azizi, and I encourage everyone to work smarter, live better. Thank you.